Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now as I move forward in the world of firearms, that comes with all sorts of different accessories and different things that you can use while you're out in the field, out in the range. And in today's video, one of these items, well, a range finder. This for me is something that I've never personally used. I've never really had the need, but now that I'm getting into more of the firearms sports and even archery and things like that, I think something like a rangefinder is definitely going to come into play. Now this here is the H-111 from Wosports. They have a number of different items, whether it's trail cameras or different types of rangefinders. They have some golf specific, and here this one's actually for the hunting application. Now today's video, pretty straightforward. We're going to get this H-11 out of the box. We're going to take a look at it together. Then I'm going to bring it out for some basic practical experience. Just trying to get used to how I would leverage this, trying to see where it's going to be applicable for me. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Wosports who did provide this for review. Now again, Wosports having a number of different items. Actually here, at some point, we're going to take a look at a trail camera. Here, this is a rangefinder. So Wosports dabbling in the firearms industry, having a number of different products for the firearms application. Now, as I mentioned, they do have a number of products for different things, like for example, rangefinders that are more specific for the golf application. I'm not really too sure what the difference would be, but what I do know is this one's a little more specific for hunting. It might have different features. It might pick up things a little bit different. I really don't know, quite honestly, what the difference is, but I do know this is the H-111 model, and it is specific for hunting. And so the first thing for me, as I get into a device like this, I'm actually shocked at how incredibly small and lightweight this is. This is going to be awesome. Where first and foremost, I mean, if I need to go to the range, being able to put this in the range bag, it's not going to take up too much space, and it may help me out just a little bit. I mean, where I go, it does go out to about 100 yards, but there's some intermediate shots and things you can do to set up in a different way. So knowing my exact distance, it could come into play. Now, furthermore, I definitely spend time out hiking and camping and backpacking, and well, at times maybe you need to understand a little bit about distance. Now, I've never really put these into practical application, so I'm not too sure, but I do think it's going to be something that's very interesting and I can experiment with. And so here, as we get into this again, the Wosports H-111, you can see this one in the camo pattern, so again being a little more specific for that hunting application. Does have some rubberized grip on the bottom, the ability to attach this to a tripod, and now flipping this around, the lens and the laser, and then on top your mode button and seemingly your power button. So seems pretty straightforward, very lightweight and reasonably compact overall. Down here, we'll have the ability to put in our battery, which if you look at this battery here, this does come with the unit. They call this a CR23V. And comparing this next to a CR123, you can see it is much smaller. So this is a fairly small battery, all things considered. Looks pretty straightforward. This actually has a little wrapper on it, so it comes wrapped up. But now just removing that wrapper, you can see it does again say CR23V. So this is an 800 milliamp hour battery. And again, fairly small, but getting that down and into place, that should be about it. Pressing the power button on top, and we're live. Now, before we get into use with the H-111, it does come with the instruction manual, which, quite frankly, I am going to need to read and sort of come to understand exactly what I'm going to do with this and how to approach it. And then the next thing is, comes with a little cleaning cloth, comes with a lanyard, and then again, this soft case. So generally speaking, I think this is going to be a nice setup just to get me started. But with that, I'm going to do a little bit of reading, then we'll get this out for some practical field use. And so now getting the Wosports H-111 rangefinder out to the shooting range. At this point, I've never used a rangefinder. I don't really know exactly what to expect, but the big thing for me, trying to figure out exactly how far out I am. Now, I thought it would be a great opportunity to take a look at what the range had marked for distances and compare that against my targets. And well, pretty much spot on, which is fantastic. Now it's not perfect, but it's within, I would say, about a half a foot, maybe one way or the other, and that's more than enough for me. So getting a little pistol practice, this is great. But now pushing out a little bit further, here you can see at 15 yards. So getting to a little 10-22 action inside the firing range. So here you can see about 15 yards away, looking through the best I can, this looks to be about 14.8 yards. So this is not the easiest to show you on film, where I'm kind of taking my camera and shoving it into the backside of this rangefinder to show you, but you can see fairly good overall. And this is awesome for my ability to really understand the distances here, kind of check them and see where I stand. So that's inside the pistol range. But now here, going a little further out, what about at significant length? This here is about 100 yards. You can see, looking at my steel target, 97, 96. So this does seem to be fairly accurate overall. I did find that the back of the sand pile was closer to that 100 yards, but generally speaking, this is close enough for me. So for my skill level and where I'm at currently, 3 or 4 yards difference isn't going to make or break my shooting experience. But here you can see, shooting over the distance, I was actually able to hit that dinner plate at 100 yards with iron sights fairly well, hitting 7 out of 10 shots. You know what? All things considered, for a fairly new shooter, I'll take it. And now moving forward, packing up my firearms, let's get over to the archery range. So archery is another sport that I'm getting into, but I've always wondered how far off my targets are. I really didn't have a good sense for the distance. And here you can see there are a number of targets out in the field. So whether it's 30 yards or 60 yards, 45 yards, in different cases, it does vary quite a bit. But again, I just was going by my general thoughts and had really no true concept of about how far out I was shooting. So having the laser rangefinder here, absolutely awesome. Able to verify some distances. This is fantastic. I do like it. So, all right, guys, there we have it. A look at the H-111 laser rangefinder from the company Wosports. So again, I'd like to say thank you very much to the people at Wosports for providing this for review. Very, very good, very useful, and to what I can tell, very accurate. That's the thing. What a lot of people don't know about me is, in a former life, I was actually a professional golf caddy, and I trained myself to pace off exact perfect yards. So I've tested this, and either my steps are incredibly perfectly on, or this is also perfectly accurate, but we have the exact same results. And that's very reassuring, both because I didn't lose my step literally, and this is also very accurate. And the thing that I like is it gave me the multi-purpose and sort of flexibility for a couple of different genres. First and foremost, going to the firing range, it was awesome. Now, I did my best to show this and demonstrate it and what it would be like to look through this. It's not the easiest, but you got a basic idea. You can see that this definitely worked well, and it told me the distance on my target. Now, the range, they do the best they can to mark things off and get them pretty accurate. For the most part, it was pretty darn close. Within a few feet at 100 yards, and pretty much within, a matter of inches or, half a foot or something on the smaller range. All things considered, for my needs, that's well more than enough accurate. I'm not out there to, do anything that's really competition worthy. I just need to hit some targets. So for that purpose, this was great. Now keep in mind what I did not demonstrate. There are a couple of additional modes. So 3 modes in total. The first mode is the standard distance mode. That's exactly what I was using. You can long press the button and it will continuously cycle between the distances, so that's pretty nice. I was kind of selecting a single press to target on individual targets and get the distance, but again, you can long press the button and it will continuously give you feedback. Pressing the mode button to mode 2, as you acquire a target, it will vibrate. So say, for example, and when you look through, it puts a little golf flag. If you were to acquire sort of the distance on a golf flag, and you were to go all the way out to the green, get on that flag, press the button, hold it down, it will vibrate when it's on that exact target. So that's kind of cool, getting a little bit of like haptic feedback. And then mode 3 will actually measure the speed of objects. So if there's moving objects and you hold down the button, it will measure the speed. Now, I have not got into full testing of that yet. That is something that I need to do. So if you had a moving animal or a moving target, you could kind of start to dial in on the speed, and that's fairly useful overall. And for the archery, it was really refreshing. I was wondering for a while how far out those targets were. I kind of had ballpark ideas, but it was really never confirmed. But now I definitely know exactly how far those targets are. So it's really cool, and again, just enjoyable to kind of benchmark myself, know what I'm doing and at what length and how accurate I am, and to really start to understand things. Tools like this are very useful. So whether you're an advanced shooter or you're a novice, tools like this definitely coming into play. And even furthermore, I could see this being very useful for the hiking, camping, and backpacking application. Again, just wondering distances, how far out you are from certain things. Now, granted, this is going to have a little bit of a limited range, but at over 800 yards, that's still pretty good. I mean, you're kind of at that point reaching out to about a half a mile, roughly, plus or minus. That's pretty good. So all things considered, this H-111, I do like it. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more on the hiking, camping, and backpacking genre. On that channel, I cover everything from the shelter systems, sleep systems, knives, axes, backpacks, flashlights, you name it. That's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.